What's a video game that you know will never exist, but you would pay so much money to see happen?
So I put a lot of thought into this, and I think I got the right formula, if you would hear me out. An Avatar game, RPG style, with the format of Mass Effect 2 and Attack on Titan 2, the video game. Why did I pick these two? I'll explain. Attack on Titan 2 was such a great game where you played your own character and you were somehow incorporated into the real story without having to go through every other thing the other characters had to do. You truly felt like you were your own person, and you gradually went up the ranks to become a full-fledged scout that got into Erevan's small circle. Mass Effect 2 also did the same thing, except you had more freedom of travel. Open game where you can go to any planet that you wanted. Truly, and as the game came to a close, you felt like the people that you recruited, we all became family by the end, and all that. You knew their story, you gained their loyalty, and it truly felt that you two were a team by the end of the game. Both these games have something in common, that the fact is that while you were getting to know these characters, you also got their stories. You learned what they liked, what they don't like, the reasons they had difficulties and all that. And depending if you did their personal missions to get their loyalty, you definitely got an insight of their characters and their backstory. So how do we start this story? First, we create our character. Then we select which nation our character comes from. Now you can also switch if you're a bender or non-bender. And for non-benders, you can select what weapon you would prefer, which would be a sword, a staff, a spear, anything. Even bow and arrow. And depending on which nation you are, it depends on how your story starts. For instance, if you're in the Earth Nation, you are either going to start your character in Omashu, or you're going to start your character in Ba Sing Se. Reason for, because those are the two major cities that the Aang gang usually visits. Well, not usually visits, but they're the ones where a lot of plot takes place. If you're in the Fire Nation, you are most likely a citizen or a soldier. Now, I'm kind of iffy on the soldier part because, honestly, I really don't know how I'm going to, create the age range and all that. So, you can either be, between 15 or 17. Oh, hell, maybe as low as 12 because, honestly, let's be real. It feels kind of weird that if you create an adult character and he's traveling around with a bunch of kids. Side note, let me know what y'all think about the age range thing. Moving on, and if you're in the Water Nation, you're most likely going to start in the same village as Sokka and Katara. I would say you could choose to be in the Air Nation in this game, but you'll be 100 years past tense. And as the game goes on, you meet various characters of these, which, depending on which nation you're in, you might meet some of these characters sooner rather than later. Now, this is where the Attack on Titan format comes in. In Attack on Titan, you were able to have up to 4, if I remember correctly, 3 to 4 people on your team. So there's a 5-man squad. Now, while the other characters are non-playable, they were still able to act on their own. So they can take down their enemies, all that. Even in some certain situations, you could even do co-op video game moves or even co-op finishing moves and all that. Or hell, they can even come in for assist if you're in danger. The way I categorize it is with support characters. It's either you could do a finishing move, a healing move, or an assist or defend. Characters like Atara, she can either help you with an assist or healing. Characters like Aang can work as defensive characters or support. Characters like Toph, Zuko, or Sokka can work as support or even co-op finishing move. And then characters that you have like Boomy, Iroh, John, hell, maybe even where's he at? Master Sokka's teacher. I don't know why I can't pronounce his name or remember it right now. They are one-shot characters. When you summon them, they one-shot a character, but the fact is, you can only use them like once a time. Maybe a time limit has to be, but here's the thing: they're one shot, and they are the characters who take the longest to each shot. Now, I relate to Mass Effect 2 the way I was saying to Attack on Titan. You can learn the characters, and this also helps for people who never watched the series or even read the books. You can learn about each character's history. You don't have to, but it would be helpful if you knew their history about how what made them them. For instance, when you join the gang, there's a part where you're not on a mission and you guys saddle up. You can go around the little area you're in, your little camp, talk about their history and all that. You can learn about Aang's, how his culture got genocide. You can learn about Katara or Sokka and how their mom was killed. And as the story goes on and more characters come into play, when you're not on missions, the campsites, more characters come in. You can talk to them, optional. You can talk to them, learn about their history and all that. And honestly, it helps like to build relationships. You know, this is what makes relationships is what makes the coordination a lot stronger. So if you don't talk to this person very well, the coordination, their attack damage is not going to be up that way. For instance, if you talk to Sokka more than you do Zuko, Sokka is going to get more damage points whenever you summon him for an assist. And if you do it with Zuko, talk to him more than you do Sokka, it's vice versa. Talk to every character until your infinity is maxed out and you guys can do top damage. And again, back to Mass Effect 2. Remember in Book 3 how everyone but Toph got their solo mission with Zuko? You can go on third party with them, develop the relationship between them. You see, sometimes, again, a lot of people don't trust Zuko at this point. So you can help build that relationship to him so y'all's coordination goes back together. But just because you're a part of the main story now doesn't mean you go on every quest. As like with Aang when he went on that spiritual journey. I'm just gonna call it a journey. He went on that journey with the sea lion. You're with the rest of the group. You don't go with him on it. So while you're there searching for him and all that, you gear up for the war and all that, and you can either go with Sokka and Suki and Toph on there, or you can go help Zuko and Katara with their mission. And then once you're done with either or, you can go help Aang with his mission. Now we all know that Aang did not need help with his duel with Ozai. I mean, he kind of did because if he didn't get the Avatar state, he would have been past tense. But you get to the point where you're fighting with Ozai, and then all of a sudden we get the moment when he gets his Avatar bang back, and it's just lights out from there. And then by the end of the game, you stand alongside your friends as Zuko is appointed to Fire Lord. The war is over, and you are all having tea in Uncle Iroh's shop. So, guys, what do you think about my take on this? Let me know in the comments, and till next time.